เอาละครับทีนี้ผมขออนุญาตส่งต่อเวทีนี้ให้กับแขกรับเชิญของเรานะครับก็คือคุณเจฟฮอฟแมนที่จะมาทำมาสเตอร์คลาสในช่วงนี้ผมขอเรียนเชิญคุณเจฟฮอฟแมนบนเวทีเลยนะครับ I would like to invite up on stage Mr. Jeff Hoffman, who is going to be conducting a master class this morning. ทุกท่านครับผมขอเสียงปรบมือให้คุณเจฟฮอฟแมนหน่อยได้ไหมครับนะครับ Mr. Jeff Hoffman, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I just need the slides. Please, we're going to talk a little bit about there we go. We're going to talk today a little bit about mentoring, and this is why this is so important. When people talk about startups and entrepreneurs being successful, and they ask them, what is the most important resource that entrepreneurs need to succeed? And people usually say funding, and it's not, it's mentoring. If we gave most entrepreneurs money without mentoring, they wouldn't know how to use it anyway. Mentoring is the most important resource to make sure entrepreneurs succeed. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk about mentoring. Then we're going to bring up two local Thai entrepreneurs to tell you about their experience with mentors. I just wanted to tell you though, I've been for the last 5 years on kind of a world tour of mentoring, and I've been mentoring entrepreneurs in 70 or 80 different countries. So what I'm sharing with you is what I've learned from entrepreneurs all over the place. This is lots of experiences that lots of people have told me of what worked, not just my ideas. So let's start with this. The first question people always ask is who can be a mentor? When I ask people if they want to mentor entrepreneurs, frequently they say no because they are not an entrepreneur. Maybe they work at a big corporate, or maybe they work in government, or maybe they work in a family business that they did not start. But the truth is that everybody here can be a mentor. You do not have to be an entrepreneur to mentor an entrepreneur. And let me explain why. Because the things that entrepreneurs need help with are not just the things you think. People tell me, well, I can't mentor an entrepreneur because I don't know technology, I don't know apps, or I don't know how to raise money from investors. Yes, those are things that entrepreneurs need help with, but the other things we need help with, many of you understand. For example, I just listed a few. I am an engineer myself. When I started my first company, I had no training in how to hire people, how to manage people, how to motivate people. One of my first days, I had a couple of employees at my startup, and two of the employees started yelling at each other. And the third employee came to me and said, you need to go do something. I think they're going to fight. And I said, my training is in engineering. No one ever trained me in how to stop fights. If you have worked with people, even if you're in government or corporate, we need you. You can mentor an entrepreneur on how to manage people. Some days, entrepreneurs need motivation themselves. That is part of mentoring. We're not asking you financial questions. We need your help to just stay positive some days. Communicating clearly. If you were a teacher and you know how to communicate, writing skills and speaking skills, you could be mentoring an entrepreneur. So a lot of times I get questions about relationships and life and work balance. My point is, mentors help entrepreneurs in every part of their life. So everybody in here could be a mentor. You do not have to be an entrepreneur to do that. Some days, actually for me, some days that's my job. Sometimes entrepreneurs call me and they say, I had a really bad day, I just need a hug. Mentoring is a lot more than knowing technology or finance. It's helping entrepreneurs with everything that they need. The next question, if you want to be a mentor. The question is, how do I find a mentee? How do I find somebody to mentor? So what I want you to do is not focus on the short-term need. Sometimes an entrepreneur is looking for a mentor because they're stuck on one problem right now and they're worried about it. I don't know anything, as an example. I don't know anything about manufacturing and I have to build my product. I need a mentor. So they will look for a mentor and you'll look for a mentee because you know something about manufacturing. The problem with that short-term thinking is, as soon as you solve the manufacturing problem, you have nothing else to talk about. So don't look for somebody based on a short-term problem. Look for somebody that you can help for years, for a long time, with every part of their business and their life as a mentor. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to find a mentor, this is some of the most important advice that I've ever learned. The secret to finding a good mentor is not to find somebody that knows manufacturing because you have a manufacturing question. The best mentor you can find is find somebody in the world, in your community, that you want to be like when you grow up. When you meet someone and you say, I want to be like her, that is the person that should be your mentor. Not because they have manufacturing knowledge or finance knowledge. It's more because you respect and admire this person. You respect their business and the way they lead their life. Find somebody you want to be like one day and ask them to be your mentor. That creates a much better mentor relationship. How does mentoring work? Mentoring, the commitment you are making is to meet regularly. The worst thing you can do is tell an entrepreneur that you will be their mentor and then you are so busy that you can never meet with them. Do not start mentoring until you're ready to make a commitment. They are counting on you to help them. Once you find a mentor and mentee relationship, you need to meet regularly, scheduled meetings. An important thing for the meetings is not to just meet informally and chat. It's important that every meeting has an agenda. When I mentor people all over the world, including some Thai entrepreneurs, when they call me, my first question is, what is your objective for this call or meeting? Why are you calling me? What do you want to get out of this? So the mentor and the mentee need to make sure every meeting has a goal. Today, and here's an example. For today's meeting, I am having problems with my co-founder, and I need some advice on how to talk to my co-founder on a sensitive subject. That is an agenda for today. We only talk about what's on the agenda to stay focused. It's also important that you have frequent discussions, even if they're on the phone. Or for example, I use WhatsApp on my phone to talk to mentor entrepreneurs in Thailand when I am somewhere else in the world. But it is better to have frequent, small conversations instead of sometimes entrepreneurs wait until they are in trouble, and then they call the mentor and they say, help, I'm in trouble, we're out of money, or whatever the trouble is, and they're in a panic. Don't do it that way. Talk regularly with small questions continually with your mentor and your mentee. And this is really important. If you are a mentor and your mentee asks you a question and you do not know the answer, don't answer. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen mentors answer a question and I said, that wasn't even a good answer. You don't even know what you're talking about. That's not your expertise. But they answer it anyway because they say, well, the entrepreneur was counting on me. They think I'm the smart person. I'm the experienced person, so I'm supposed to answer the questions. Stop doing that. If you don't know, say, hey, I don't really know finance. You should ask somebody else that question. So as a mentor, don't believe that you're supposed to know all the answers. Just answer the things that you actually know. The purpose of mentoring. Why do we do this? This is also important. Many times, mentors think because you asked me to be your mentor because I was successful in business at something. So therefore, when you ask me, I think as the mentor that I'm the expert, right? So a lot of times, a young entrepreneur, and we're about to talk to two, a young entrepreneur asks the mentor a question, and the mentor thinks, look, he doesn't know how to do this. I know how to do it. I'll just do it. The mentor just gives them the answer. That is not what mentoring is about, right? That is the old expression where you're just giving someone a fish when what they need is to learn how to catch fish themselves. So, as a mentor, your goal is not to show the entrepreneur or the mentee everything. It's to teach them how to find the answers. One day, one of my mentors said, good news, mentees. He said to me, good news. And I said, what? He said, I'll probably never call you again. I said, why is that good news? And he said, because you taught me how to find answers and how to solve problems, so now I can do it myself and I want to go mentor someone. Your goal is to eliminate yourself eventually because you've taught your mentee how to find answers themselves instead of just giving them the answer to everything. So that is our goal in mentoring. And what I would really like to do now, oh, by the way, mentees and mentors listen to each other. And this is why this is important. For example, I was talking to a successful businessman who had been running businesses for 25 years. He was mentoring a 22-year-old entrepreneur. And he looked at me and he said, he's only 22. What could he know? So he wasn't listening to the 22-year-old because he thought he was smarter. But the truth is, some of the world's greatest inventions were invented by people that were 22 years old. So just because you are the mentor, you are not smarter than that person, right? One day you used to be 22 and you thought you were smart. Mentors have to listen to the entrepreneur. They might have a better idea than you. Likewise, as a mentee, if a mentor gives you advice, pay attention. So it's important that both of you respect each other and listen. And sometimes I don't see that. I don't see the mentor listening to the young entrepreneur because they think they're too young to have a good idea. All right, so I also want you to not do this. When you find a mentor and a mentee relationship, sometimes people say, I say, how is it going? And they say, not great. She and I don't communicate well, but we'll make it work. That is not a good idea. Don't make it work. If you don't feel like the relationship is good, you both need to find somebody else. Here's the hard part. If I am 22 years old and I am talking to a businesswoman who's 50 years old and successful, it's hard for me to say to her, I don't think this is working. It's hard for the young person to criticize the experienced person. So here's what you need to do. And sometimes it's hard for the mentor to tell the young person, I don't feel comfortable mentoring you. Both of you need to have an independent source, another person that you both report to. So if Joel is my mentee, then Joel will go to Christina and tell her what he thinks of working with me, and I will go to Christina and give her my opinion. And then we will accept an independent person to say, you guys are not a good match. We don't think you should be working together. So if you don't feel like your relationship is working, stop doing it, but report on a regular basis. Go tell somebody else independently how you think your relationship is going. Now, I would like to invite up two Thai entrepreneurs so we can hear from some local entrepreneurs about their experience. Fortunately for me, their names are Gak and Joel, because I can't pronounce any other Thai names. So Gak and Joel, would you please come up here and join us? Let's give them a round of applause. Actually, I'll go over here where I can see the clock. So we're going to grab you guys 2 mics. The first thing I would like you each to do is take a minute and tell the audience what you do about your company.
So hi everyone, my name is Gax. I'm doing fintech applications called Piggipo, the application that help people managing all credit card in one app. So right now we are #1 credit card management in Thailand.
Congratulations, thank you. Joel?
Hi, I'm doing a mapping application that designed for agriculture. Our app is helping farmers to manage their farm assets.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we do.
Heard the Prime Minister yesterday talking about the importance of what both of you are doing. So Joel, let's start with you. Talk about when you first decided, what made you think I need a mentor?
When I start my startup, it's very new to me because before I doing a software house, SME. So it's kind of like I move into the new area, how to do business. So I think it could be a good idea to have something mentoring how to do a business in form of startup.
Okay, let me ask you one more question, then we'll do the same for you. So when you decided, this is new to me and I need a mentor, where did you start to look for a mentor? Did you know where to find a mentor?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to looking at mentoring. In fact, I think it's a very, very new concept in Thai business because I just heard the concept of mentoring just recently.
Okay.
Just a couple of years ago. So when I go out and looking for mentoring, it's very weird to some extent. So I start with among the friends who have to start before me. So start with that. I looking through the network of my friend.
Okay. And how about you? When did you first realize you needed a mentor?
Okay. Let's go back to 3 years ago. After I graduated from universities, then I would like to do the startup. Then I think, okay, I don't know anything about startup. Then I try to see who is the role model for the startup. Then I saw Ubid, one of the famous startup in Thailand. Then I tell him, try to talk with him to get him the mentors. And finally, when we talk together and the relationship is quite good, so he become our investor. So that is my first mentor.
Okay. By the way, that's an important note for everybody. Once, we talk about this all the time in the mentoring world, once a mentor becomes an investor, you can't have them as a mentor anymore. And the reason is they'll make decisions to protect their investment, which might not always be the best decision for you. So I want you to think about that. When in many mentoring organizations around the world, once a mentor decides to invest, we usually ask them to excuse themselves from being a mentor because you need somebody who doesn't have an interest in your company to give you the best advice. So I just want you to think about that going forward. So let's go to you with this next question. When you first found a mentor, what type of help did you need? In what areas did you think they could help you with?
Okay, so it's easy because I'm quite really new in startup world. So they help us in the startup entrepreneur, how to raise fundings, how to do the startup, how to find the users.
Okay, Joel?
Yeah, my question, what I'm looking for from mentoring is I have a problem that I have too many ideas because we used to work on technology. We sell the software from the US. So they have many market when we sell the software. But when looking to ourselves, when we create a startup, so they have a lot of idea that which one I should pursue. This is the major advice that I'm looking for when I start a startup.
Okay, that's a very good one. So I'm going to ask you both one of the questions, the points that I had on my slides. Tell me what kinds of problems that you had that you weren't ready for, that need mentoring. What I mean was, like the first time I needed employees, no one ever trained me in how to do an interview. So these were things that I said, I don't know how to do some of these things, but they're not startup things like raising funding, what were some of the other problems that you needed help with that you didn't know you were going to need help with?
I think it kind of mix up many areas of business at the same time, like marketing, products, and channel, CRM. Everything is just like start simultaneously. That is really confused for me when I start. That I'm looking for help to organize how to prioritize what area that I have to emphasize on. This is what I'm looking for.
Okay, how about you?
For me, I think it's a work-life balance.
Okay.
But because the startup world, everybody do speed up, do the best, do 24 hours. And I think I need advice on the how to work by balance, give some time to the families, friends.
Okay, I'm going to repeat what I said before because that is so important. So many people that tell me, I don't think I'm qualified to be a mentor, yet if you are a human being who has relationships, you could be a mentor. Every single day, some entrepreneur says to me, my husband is angry at me, my girlfriend is angry at me because I work on my startup all the time. I need some advice on life-work balance. Many people could mentor us and give us advice on that. So there are a lot of things that we need help with. So we'll go back to you again. How frequently did you need mentorship? How often do you want to talk to your mentor, or how often do you talk to your mentor?
I officially talk to my mentor is once per month.
Okay.
But I think mentor should be every week or every 2 days. Not only from the mentor. Maybe I got a lot of good advice from startup friends.
Okay. How about you? How frequently do you interact?
In my case, I think right now my friend is my mentoring.
Okay.
My mentor. So we used to meet regularly once a week. So in my case, I think I meet them every week. But a group of friends, they are startup, so they provide a very good advice for me. So I think every week for me. But it's not like you said that we are very informal when we have a dinner and we raise the issue about my startup and then give response. So it's quite a friendly
Have
discussion.
either of you, and you said mentoring is relatively new, so it's okay if you haven't done this yet, but have either of you ever talked about the expectations from the mentor? This is what I expect from you, and this is what you should expect from me. If I asked your mentors, would they say we understand what the give and take is? Talk about that, what you expect from them, and do they understand that? You can go first.
Okay, so normally I will set up the agenda to tell them, okay, today I would like to get advice on you to get the answer from this topic. Then I start discuss with them, and then I think the most important is that you say set up the same goal to find the right answers.
Very good. How about you? Do you guys have goals for your meeting?
Yeah, I'm looking for the network, how to expand the networking, business network through the experience of mentoring. Some of the mentors, they have experience in business before, and they have a network, and then can lead my business to another connection. So I think networking, how to create a networking is very important.
So let's talk about that a minute for everybody. It is okay. In fact, the trend that we are seeing around the world now is that people are going to multiple mentors. So instead of just having one mentor, I gave you the example before. If somebody asks me a question about manufacturing, I say, I don't really know manufacturing, but they still need the answer. So it's important to have a network where you have access to more than one mentor. Do you have access to different mentors, or do you need that? Talk about that.
Sure. I have the one mentor specialist in finance, one mentor in technologies, one mentor in legals. So I think the best for startup is if you don't know this topic or you don't know how to find the answer, you need to know who can help you to find the answers. That is why we need to have the multiple mentors.
Very good. How about you, Joel?
Yeah, she luckier than me because I only have one group. So I only have one or two mentor. And they are startups, so it's not like it's case of Gak that she have a mentor on finance, on marketing. I only have a mentor on people who started startup. So it's not in deep on marketing or financing or legal. So it's mixed up.
So one thing that's important to note as well is that mentor requirements change as companies go through phases. When you start a company, everything is about development because you don't have a product. So you need help building your product. Then all of a sudden, your product is done and everything is about sales. So now you need help selling it. Then suddenly, you have lots of customers and everything is about service because everybody's calling with a problem. So then you solve that problem and now you're going to raise more money and you're going to grow into the region or ASEAN region outside of Thailand. So each of those requires different expertise. So Joel, as your company grows, you might have different needs later that the people you're talking to now can't answer. So mentors stay with you during the period of time they can really be useful to you, and then that requirement changes. Let's talk a little bit about mentorship in Thailand, though. One of the things we need are more mentor networks to organize. That's part of, I'm on the board of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, Gen, that's part of this event here. And that's part of what we do is that's why we launched Gen Asia and Gen Thailand to try to help build more mentoring. What other organizations can you recommend to people, or where else do you start to see people building mentor networking?
For myself, I start by going to accelerators. So I joined the DTech accelerators, then I joined the bank accelerators. Then I got the mentor from each industry. The best thing you need to know is you need to know that what you need to know. For example, I doing fintechs, so I think I would like to get mentor from the bank industry. That's why I joined the bank accelerators to got mentoring from the banker.
That's very good advice. How about you?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's really a new concept of mentoring in Thailand. So I do agree with Gak that start with Accelerate program or the event like this, that we're starting to looking for a mentoring. But I have some question about even Thai mentoring. It's a really new concept. It's not easy to find a good mentor. That's what my point.
Okay.
So start with the Accelerate program or the event like this.
Okay, very good. And in fact, that is the reason we're having this talk today, is because we know that it's hard to find mentorship. And our hope is that more of the people listening to this talk, either here in the audience or on the webcast, will decide to become mentors. We need, for the transformation of Thailand in the future, we need help. And we need everybody's help in mentoring. So this might be a hard one. I want to hear from you guys an example of when mentoring didn't work. Have you ever had a moment where you said, okay, this is not helping me? Either of you have an example? Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, no, I'm not experiencing that kind of the obstacle yet. So I do not have any idea of how it's going when the mentor and mentee have some difficulty when they work together.
Okay, how about you?
Yes, I have. I mean, he or she, they get advice to me, and then I feel it's not that way. I mean, he suggests me to do this way, but I think it should not be that way. So I will fade out from him, but I resent the idea from him or her. Then I come back to think again. Is it the good to follow on the mentor, the advice from them or not?
Okay. This is, again, an important point that we mentioned earlier. Just because you're the mentor doesn't mean you're right, okay? And even if you've been successful, it still doesn't mean you're right. So everything you hear, you need to think about. And sometimes you need to ask some other mentors, but it doesn't mean they're right. If you think about, for me, we were in the travel industry, and if I was talking to successful people in travel, we would have never created any of the products we created because all of them told me, you can't do it that way. Think about Travis starting Uber. If Travis asked people that work for taxi companies, what do you think of my idea to start a taxi company that doesn't have any taxis? What do you think his mentors would have said? They would have said, that's a crazy idea. So it's a give and take, but our goal as mentors is to give you a lot of things to think about. We don't always know the answers either. So I think that's important to know. Let's talk about some more advice that you might give to people in the audience about, I just want to hear from you guys about mentorship. How important is it to you? How much has it helped you? Maybe some examples of the importance of mentorship. Why don't you go first, Scott?
Yeah. So for me, mentor is really important because they shortcut our experience, maybe 10 years or 5 years because they have faced this before. So just last month, I joined Google Accelerators. Then I got the mentorship for fintech like us from all around the world. So then I can see, okay, the trend of the fintech that I'm in. What is the next trend, what I need to do. So they help us to shortcut the experience. That is the most important. But beyond that, you need to come back and think, is that trend work for Thai people? Is it have the culture problem or not? That's it.
Very, very good.
Yeah, from my point of view, I think the mentor can help in two aspects as well. In emotion, when you do a startup, it deal with some emotion fluctuation.
Yeah.
So when mentor have experience, they can, calm you down and let you move your business steadily. And another thing is some of the foreseeing the problem in the things to come that a mentor have this kind of experience is really useful.
Okay, so and I'm going to say again to people in here that want to be mentors, remember everybody in here has some useful skills that we need that you can help us with. Like you were talking about the emotional roller coaster. I had a slide earlier where I said sometimes my job is to just go around and give people a hug because they're just having a bad day and somebody needs to tell them, we all go through that, it's going to be okay. That is part of mentoring. But I want to make sure you're aware that technology has enabled mentoring. So even if you can't meet, I'm not saying anything bad about Bangkok traffic, but even if you can't get to each other, technology, there's no excuse, right? You can do a Skype call, a Google Hangout, a Zoom call. Like I said, I do a lot of WhatsApp mentoring. In fact, I think right now we're being broadcast live in Pakistan. Say hi to Meena, say hi to Pakistan. I mentor entrepreneurs there using WhatsApp. So for all of you, explore the technology as a great way to stay connected with your mentee. So I think we're at the end of our time. What I'd like to do is give you guys a chance to just give any final advice that you'd like to give to entrepreneurs, especially that are looking for mentors. Anything you want to close with, a closing comment?
Okay, so I think everyone can be mentor because everyone know their own experience. They can help me to mentor work-life balance. They can help me to mentor the entrepreneurships or help me calm down or any experience. So just feel free to talk with your friends, your startup. Your startup friend can be your mentor as well.
Very, very good. Sir?
Yeah, when you do a startup, it's dealing with a lot of uncertainty. It's really, really risky, and you sometimes really difficult to make a decision. And when you meet some mentoring, this is really, very helpful, really helpful. And our mentor, from what I have seen, they are very, very generous. Some of them do it for free, or some it doing for to pay forward. And then this even it can be a good human relationship. Even not a business. When you meet with people that help each other, it make you feel good.
So Joel just made a very important point, and that's that people mentor for different reasons. And if you're the entrepreneur, you need to understand that. What entrepreneurs do is they ask because they need help, but realize that mentor doesn't owe you anything. They don't have to answer your questions. They're busy. So expect that they want something out of this too. Sometimes, for many mentors, they just want to know that they made a positive impact on your life. But you need to tell them that, right? They're giving you something, give them something back. Either give them thanks or appreciation. Some of them actually want some equity, or they might want some shares or something. Mentoring is not normally paid because that's coaching, just so you'll know. If you're getting paid to advice, that's an industry called coaching. Mentors don't usually get paid, but sometimes they get equity in a company later on. But more importantly, ask the mentor, why are you helping me? Understand what they're doing this for and make sure they're getting something out of the relationship. I will be honest, I have had days where I hung up the phone and I said, all that person ever does is ask me for stuff and never even says, hey Jeff, how are you today? So don't just take, give back as well. It's important. And I want to end on this note, that being an entrepreneur, this is my opinion, being an entrepreneur is not a job, it's a privilege. Entrepreneurs are people that get to design their own life. We make our own companies, we make our own rules, we make our own schedules. So as a way to give back to entrepreneurship, everybody that is an entrepreneur should also be a mentor. If you are an entrepreneur, I think it is your duty to reach behind you, take the hand of some other entrepreneur and pull them forward with you. If we do that all across Thailand, we will have amazing results. Thank you both very much for joining us today. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.